any decimal point, and you can, for a floating point number, you can, that's the F at the end is optional. It doesn't matter. For decimal, it's similar to float, but it stores bigger values. Then there's a character type. There's a Boolean type. You can have true or false. And the last one is a string. Let's do a string here. And let's say I want to print it out, I can go and run this, so. Any questions on the data types? Any questions on the variables?
Hey, I was just dropping in.
Hey, George.
Just want to see if Alia, you know all the data types, right?
Of course.
Just picking on you.
Oh, Gracie fixed the error. Good job, Gracie. All right, any questions on the variables and data types?
I do not see anything in the chat.
All right, cool. Looks like there are no questions. So the next thing I wanted to touch base was typecasting. What does typecasting mean? So basically, if you want to convert one type to another, that's when you use typecasting. For example, I'm going to copy this over here and explain this a little bit here. So in this case, I am defining an integer, okay, of value 1, and then I am assigning the value that I defined to a double. Okay, so basically I'm assigning an integer to a double. Okay, so basically we're converting a type, So that is typecasting. And we'll do a quick, I'm not going to run this, okay? I want y'all to run this and let me know what the result is. So I want y'all to print out what the double value is, or the typecasted value is. So I want y'all to run the program and show what the typecasted value is. I'm going to copy and paste that bit of code in the Slack channel if anybody wants to copy and paste. Anybody want to volunteer with the result? You can go ahead and paste it in the Slack channel. Is everybody following along? Anybody wants to volunteer what the value is printed?
All right,
Cool.
we got an answer from Neil 1.0.
Yep. Yeah. So basically what you saw, right? it's converted from an integer to a double value. Okay, that's what typecasting is. Yeah, converting from one data type to another data type. Okay, and the specific thing, right, is in this case it's called widecasting because you're converting from integer to double. You know, you're not going to lose any precision when you convert from integer to double. Okay, but when you convert from a double to integer, right? If you have a double number and you convert it to an integer, then you lose some precision. It's called narrowcasting. But if you want to do narrowcasting, you will have to do it a different way. Okay. So for example, I'm going to define a double value here. And I want to convert this value to an integer, you know. And you'll notice as I did this, right? It's giving you a compilation issue, you know. So if you want to narrowcast this, right, you will have to basically do something like this, which will convert it.
Also, your variable names are spelled differently.
Yeah, thank you, Darius.
Yep.
Right. So if you want to narrowcast it, you'll have to basically give it a cast, you know, within brackets. You know. So that should get rid of your compilation issue. And then if you want to print the value out, and you can see the result, you know, it's 3. Basically, you lost some precision over there.
So Zoe asked in the chat if double means decimal.
Yep. Yep, sorry. That's correct.
Cool.
So an int is a whole number. So, you know, 0 through 9 or 90 or what have you. And a double, it's also called a floating point. I'm sorry, that's a different type value in Java. Forget what I just said, but a double usually has decimals, and it's the 1.0, 1.9, and so on. They're more precise.
Thanks, Mike. And I just want to point out this, you know, I'm going to miss this on the characters, right? You know, when you define a character, you use single quotes, but when you define a string, you use double quotes. You know, I kind of missed that.
Neil also asked, does converting a double to an int always round down?
Yes. So basically, you lose the decimal points. Cool. Any other questions on the variables and data types? All right. Okay. So let's talk about operators next. You know. So in Java, you know, there are different type of operators supported. The first is arithmetic operations. So basically plus, minus, multiplication, division, modulus, you know. So before I go to the rest, you know, I'm just going to do a quick thing here. So let's say we want to do a plus operator int a equal to 10, int b equal to 20, and c equal to a plus b. Then let's say and you can see that I'm using a plus symbol. Basically, it's a concatenate, you know. And it should basically print 30 over there. And you can try the other operations. We're not going to do it right here. Minus, multiplication, division. Maybe we'll do the mod a little bit here. Let's say. I was not expecting that.
Merlin asks, can Java do inequalities?
Yes. Right. I was not expecting. Oh yeah, that's true. Sorry. Yeah. Basically, B. It's a mod operation. Basically it's the reminder. If it's in this case, right? When you divide 20 by 10, the value is 2, and there's no reminder, right? Let's say if I do 22 divided by 10, then you should have a mod. The mod is 2. Yeah, so. And Merlin, we'll get to the inequalities in a bit, okay? Any questions on the operators as such? At least these first 4 operators here, first 5 operators. All right. So we'll talk a little bit about the plus plus. So the plus plus operator basically is to increment a value by 1. So I can do plus plus A. Or let's do plus plus C. Or let's do plus plus A. That's better. Comment this out. Comment this out. So the plus plus operator basically increments the value by 1. So I'm going to go ahead and print the value of A here. You can see, it took 10, it did the increment, and then it's printing 11. So the plus plus operator increments the value of 1. So this is basically a short form for A equal to A plus 1. It's the short form for that. And similarly, the minus minus is the short form for just to decrement a value. Any questions on the plus plus and minus minus? All right. Let's talk about the assignment operators a little bit. So I'm going to comment this out. So this here, when you say an equal to, that is an assignment operator. Okay. And trying to think of a good example for this. Let's see. And so the plus equal to is basically a shortcut for C equal to C plus 1. So that's what the plus equal to is. It's a shortcut for C equal to the value of itself plus 1. Yeah. Any questions on that? The plus equal to or the minus equal to, the star equal to, and the forward slash, that's a division equal to, So it's a shortcut for the value itself is going to be added to itself or subtracted from itself by this value, So any questions on the operators so far? The last two operators that I have here, the ampersand equal to, and I'm not sure what that is, but these are called bitwise operators, and I think we're kind of getting short on time. It would require a little bit more time to explain that. So I'm going to jump to skip those two for now because that's going to take us a little while, and we'll talk about that in the next week. But for this week, you can kind of look at the assignment operators. Okay. Any questions so far? All right. The next, the comparison operators. So let's see. So for example, if you want to compare two values to see if both two values are equal, you'll use the double equal to sign. Let's go ahead and put a quick example here. Just copy this. You can say, I guess I cannot do that. All right. I guess I cannot give it a string and do that, but so this is a comparison operator. Basically, it's going to check if A is equal to B. So you got to use the double equals. In this case, it's not equal. So you're going to see the result false. Let's make them the same. And you say A equal to B, and that gives you true. Right? That's how you use the comparison operations. Marlon, I don't know if this is what you wanted when you said inequalities. Anybody has any questions? Anya, I don't know what that no was for.
I am muted. I think that was to answer if they had any questions.
Okay, got it. Anybody has any questions for the comparison operators? And you can go in and try out the other comparison operators, but if you want to check if two values are equal, you use the equal to. If you want to check the inequality, you'd use the exclamation and equal to. This is greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to. Any questions? If not, we'll go and talk about the logical operators. So the logical operators, basically, if you want to do two comparisons, at once, So for example, let's say I want to see if I want to see if A is greater than 5 and it is less than 10, so basically, let's say if I want to do something like that, right? So basically you would say A is greater than 5 and you would use the logical comparison and you say A less than 20. Okay. So basically if both are true, it will print true, okay? So ampersand ampersand is a logical comparison. So basically it prints true if both are true. Okay? This is an OR operator. Basically it prints true if either one is true. Okay. So for example, if I say, in this case, let me do a say less than, and just go and run it with the ampersand operator, right? It gives you false. But if I want to say, hey, if either one is valid, right? If either condition is met, go ahead and print true instead, So any questions on the logical operators? And then not basically if you want to inverse the result, right? I've not tried this, but let's go and give this a shot. The value is true. This, but just say from if
I think we're losing.
you would do the not option, So
I think you just cut out for a
the
second.
same thing, Mike.
Yeah, I think you're cutting out. You are definitely cutting
Okay.
out.
Yeah, I think. Can everybody hear me? Can you all hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You're no longer sharing your screen.
Okay. Okay.
It also says you have a bad connection right now.
All right. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah, I got yours. I got
Yeah.
your screen back.
Okay, cool. Um, so that should cover the logical operators, ampersand, and this is an AND operator. Basically, it returns true if all the conditions are met, and an OR operator returns true if any one of the conditions is met. Yeah. So, any questions on the logical operators? All right. I think
Real quick, Neil asked what the logical operator for not does. So that exclamation point, when you put that in front of a variable, let's say you put uh, exclamation point true, and you print that out, it'll reverse that and it'll print out false. So does that answer your question? Awesome. Okay.
all right. Let's see. I know we're kind of short of time, but I did want to go over the string, and that's why I cut down a little bit on the previous section. So one of the things that you'll use pretty frequently in the course is basically looking at something we call the Javadocs. So for example, right, let's say I have a string. And I want to see what the length of this string is, okay? So I can do something like, um, so you kind of see, IntelliSense popped up when I did a dot. So basically this shows me all the methods that are defined on the string class, okay? For now, I'll explain what a class is later, but just say, hey, these are the methods that are defined on a string class itself. So if I want to see, hey, what the length of this string that I defined is, right? So you can kind of go and see, is there a method that kind of helps me get the length of that string, right? So any guesses for what the name of that method could be? Cool. So basically, I could just print that out there. Right. So I want y'all to do a quick exercise. Yep, that's correct, Anya. So basically, in this case, it's telling me the length of the string is 10. I want y'all to do a quick exercise here. So go to your Slack channel. There's the link to the Javadoc. Okay, if you can see my screen, it's in the section. Go and click on the link to the Javadoc, and then go and search for, in your search bar, go and search for string there. The first thing in your search result should be java.lang.string. Okay, I'm going to pause here for a little bit. See if you can go ahead and pull up the Javadocs and see what methods are defined in the string. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Let me know if everybody can get there.
I am not seeing any complaints in the Zoom chat. I think everyone's there.
All right, cool. Thanks, Mike. So as an exercise, right, what I want y'all to do, okay, is I want to basically concat two strings, okay? So basically, let's assume there is a string called hello, okay? So let's assume there's a string called hello, okay? But I want the output to be hello world, okay? And I want you to use a method on the string to produce this result, okay? As an exercise. So basically, I want you to concat hello with another string called world, okay? But I want you to use a method that's available in the string documentation. So go through the documentation and at least let me know which method do you think we could potentially use. And then we could see how to use that. Okay. Uh, don't worry about how to use it. Just go through the documentation, have a quick glance, and see if there is a method that we can call on the string that we defined that can give us the result we need. Okay. Don't worry about how to use it, but just look through the documentation and see if you can find a method. Okay, so here, for example, all the methods that I can see, char at, chars, code point at, it should be in your top, like, your top 15 methods that are displayed. See if there is a method that you think you can use. Anybody, any guesses to see which method you can use? Cool. String joiner. I'm not sure I used that, Neil, but definitely Tejas has the, for sure I know that Concat will do it, I'm not sure about string joiner. We are not yet at that level, Neil. So I think you kind of skipped a little bit. I want you to actually look in the java.lang.string, okay? I think for string joiner, I think definitely it will do it, okay? But that's a little bit advanced. So let's go ahead and see how to use the concat method here. So we defined a string called first part, and I've given the value of hello. And then let's define another string. I'm just going to call it full string. And we're going to say, I'm going to say first part dot concat. And I should, so you can see it's going to take another string, another variable as input. And as part of the variable, I'm going to pass world over there. And let's go and print the value of the full string. So you can see the output, that's hello world. So just to go over this pretty once more time, right? So I've defined a string called first part, and I've given it the value hello. And on that string, I'm calling a method called concat. And if you looked at the documentation for concat, right, it's taking an argument. And that argument is what it will concat with the string that we passed, okay? So it basically concatenated hello and the argument that we passed, and it gives you back a new string called the hello world. Any questions on that? So to summarize, right, you will be using this documentation pretty heavily. And just know that you will not memorize this documentation. As and when you see that there is a need, you would go to the Javadocs and see, is there a method available that satisfies your need? And you can go to the method, it will give you the documentation right here. Or the other way to do is, as you kind of saw, like, when you put the dot, it gives you the methods that are available and also the descriptions that description for that specific method, right? So that you don't have to go to the Javadoc. This is pretty important for you to understand. And if there are any questions on this, let us know, because this is kind of one of the base, I think we're close to time, but I'd like to kind of stick around for a couple of minutes to see, are there any questions? As part of your, let's say as part of your exercise, once you go, home, right, is go and look at the string documentation, see if you can play around with some of the other methods, let's say as an exercise, I want to convert every letter here to lowercase, okay? See if you can look in the documentation, figure out which method you can call from the API to convert everything to lowercase, right? So if this is the string, the output I want is, right? Or another one would be, if I want to convert everything to uppercase, right? What method in my string would I use, you know? Any questions, guys?
So I did all of this on the website because my Eclipse wasn't working. So how do I, so the Eclipse has an error. So it says that I have to declare a name package. How do I fix that?
Yeah, so for that, what you have to do, can you share your screen with us, please?
Yeah.
And can you stop sharing? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so the easiest solution that I found for this problem for now is, you see that module info Java file?
Yeah.
Can you right click on that and delete it?
Right.
And can you try running it now?
Ah, looks like it fixed it.
Yeah, it worked.
Okay. And also, since we are here, how we created the class, right? So if you go to how you right clicked on that and say new class. So go to the SRC, right click, say new, then go to class. Now add any name, like say test or anything. So I'm just trying to see if it says anything here that says create module info.
Where? Wait.
We're just looking to see if there's anything that caused that specific thing to created that module.
Yeah. So that was another solution that I was looking through, like why that error pops up. So the step that was listed is like, rather than just clicking on finish right away, you should do next. And on that next dialog box, there is an option where you can uncheck it, which was resulting in creation of this module info file. But can you just click on finish and let's see what happens now? So it didn't create it now. All right.
And can you go over that one more time? Because I think we had somebody not catch it.
Okay. So, all right, since we fixed it for Jack, let's see who's next. Merlin, do you want to share your screen with us? All right. So right click on your module info.java file and delete it. So it's the red. Yeah. Once you delete that, it should automatically fix the error that you're seeing. If not, just try running the
You
program
can go ahead and
and it should work.
cool.
Okay. Anya, did you get that?
I think Anya got it to work.
All right, is there anybody who still needs help with it, or are we good?
Or any questions from today's lecture? We talked about operators, we talked about variables, we briefly touched base on string, you know. As an exercise, I want you all to look at the Spring documentation, see if you can find a way to convert the string that you passed to a lowercase or uppercase, okay? Just get used to the API, you know.
This goes until 6, right?
Yep. They're out of time, Mike. So.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
All right. There are no other questions. Thanks, guys. I know the first 2 weeks are going to be a little slow this week and next week. But after next week, you'll get a lot more challenging problems to solve. Once we'll go over the loops and things like that. We can have fun exercises.
Feel free to try out everything that we went over at home. Just type random stuff, get used to like how the syntax works. And if you have any questions, we will be watching the Slack channel.
Yeah. And as we put out already, right? You go to W3 Schools. Everything that we covered should be there in W3 Schools. If you want to do a quick read up, we covered all the way till strings. You can go through like comments, variables, data types, typecasting operators, strings. So.
All right. If there are no questions, then everybody have a great evening, and we'll see you next week. All right. Bye.